I haven't seen him, so I left that to VJ. Had communicated with him this morning, and I know he's here, but I haven't. I'm sure he's in the team meeting, but I didn't get to see him just yet.
How do you kind of reintegrate him? Is that a plan that's already been long in place? Is that something that you guys kind of figure out now, seeing where you are as a team 6 weeks in?
We've talked through it with our athletic trainers and strength coaches, and just want to make sure we have a good plan to work him back in, to make sure he's comfortable and full go. We know he's been working very hard, and we'll be ready physically, and just got to get him caught up on some things. But he's a unique talent, and so we're going to put him back in and get him rolling as quickly as possible. The ability just to say you got this guy and help in other areas, I think that's a big positive. When you have a dominant player like him, you can put him on the best receiver and try to help the coverage in other areas, and we weren't able to do that.
You feel like Byron has done enough to stay at the other outside quarterback spot?
Byron continues to get better. We like his progress, and we'll evaluate through this week where they're all at, but I really like how he's competed so far, and similar to the quarterback, at that position, you're going to have your ups and downs, you're going to have some tough moments, but he continues to respond and make plays.
In some ways, is Patrick's absence accelerated Byron's learning curve, and could that be a positive in the long run?
There's no question. I think with his approach and work ethic, having kind of been thrown into the fire like he has is only going to make him a better player, make him mentally tougher, no question, and I think it could be a blessing for him down the road.
You guys have a lot of things together, the tight ends. With Pat coming back, the shift that would occur then, how do you address? Do you either Brock or Byron on tight end? Like how do you fix that with him coming back?
That's the solution we have to come up with, and we'll work through that this week. But like I just talked about, being able to have Pat single up somebody and then maybe move coverage to one of those tight ends or help or double is definitely an option there. And so that helps us to have another option when it comes to trying to figure out how we stop those guys.
Outside of just his play on the field, when you got to know Pat in the offseason, what's his personality like? What can he bring to the team?
Those of you who have been around, he has a unique swagger. He knows how good he is. He carries himself that way. He practices that way. He practices very, very hard, takes care of his body. What I loved watching him in training camp, he'd go one-on-ones all day, every day if he could. He loves to compete, and that rubs off on his teammates.
Do you like the flexibility now with Brock and Kevin Peterson back there?
I do. Now we've, due to necessity, found some other options that we feel more comfortable with, and being able to move Brock around, playing predominantly in the slot more so, I think will be a positive for our defense.
You've schemed up some pretty nice plays and gotten guys open. Have you felt like you found a rhythm personally as far as play calling as the weeks have gone along?
I think just offensively as a unit, as a group, we're figuring each other out. I'm figuring out what we do well and don't do well, and week to week, I think as a staff, guys are coming up with good concepts and designs, and our players are understanding how to execute those at a higher level. But it starts with the eliminating negative plays, and our quarterback has done a nice job of that. I think this week O-line had 0 sacks, 0 QB hits, which is, against that front, really impressive.
With Kyler's ability to check at the line and all the freedom you give, is that rare at how much he does it for a rookie quarterback?
I would say it's rare for a rookie quarterback in the NFL, but coming from where he was at Texas A&M and then Oklahoma, where they give him that freedom, there's a comfort level that he's had with that, coming from similar systems and just having that attacking mindset. If you see a better play, get us into it. And so he's been comfortable from day one. In the spring, he was checking plays that I don't even think our guys knew, and he's just very confident in that approach.
How does that work? Do you send in a run-pass option on every play, and he's got the choice to pick it, or you send in one play? He can get us into anything that he sees. So he can change the play completely if he has a reason to check it and likes the matchup or likes what he sees. He has that freedom from end zone to end zone. Do you usually send in a run-pass option with each play when you call the play?
Yeah, most of our plays have some built-in flexibility, but if he saw something and wanted to take it to a completely different play, he could do that. I just want a good reason and have it be something we've discussed during the week.
Have there been times where you're like,
yeah, there's been some that I've asked for an answer to why he did that, but that's growing pains with it, and I'd rather him be aggressive in that way than be timid and trying to attack.
What are those conversations like? Like, what is?
I mean, usually he knows already, and he's like, yeah, I know you're going to be mad at me, but this is what I was thinking. And I'm like, I don't really get mad at you, so let's just get it right. But like I said, I've coached young players that we've given them that freedom, and that's the only way you can get good at it is to learn from your mistakes. And if you want to play with that type of mentality, that you got to give them that freedom.
How much do you think it helps being a quarterback yourself, where you've made a read at the line before and it's been a terrible read? You know what I mean? You can empathize a little with him. I mean, do you think that kind of puts you in his relationship maybe ahead?
I try to see it from the player's eyes. I've always tried to do that with the quarterbacks. I know sometimes, even though it's open on film, he couldn't see it because the D lineman's in his eyes or for whatever reason. I mean, it's not as clear and dry as people think it is playing that position. And so I just try to see it from their eyes and get to know that particular player and then kind of curtail my style of coaching to them.
Have you always been comfortable giving quarterbacks that freedom, or early on in your coaching career were you a little bit more?
I've always given it. I was given that in college and always felt like that's why I was successful, to be able to execute at the line and see things and attack. And I think as long as those guys are working at it and putting in the time to understand what we're trying to get to, then yeah, I've given them that at a young age.
Do you tweak the approach at all, knowing that you're not going to have limited time with him? It's not like he's going to graduate or go pro. Like, you can have him for years. Does that change how you install any of this?
That's a great question. Not really. We try to just give him as much as he can handle, really. And week in, week out, we want to make sure it's a game plan that he's comfortable with and can execute at a high level. But no, we're trying to put as much on his plate this year as possible, and so he can learn and grow up, and we can get better as an organization as he develops.
Was Christian close to playing yesterday, or were you always kind of thinking he needed at least another week?
We didn't know till late in the week. I mean, he's made some real strides, and I think it'll be similar to this week. I mean, those high ankles can linger a little bit, and he's working through some things. But from what it appeared on the field that day to where he's at now, we're all still very pleased.
Did Zach Allen have a setback last week because he kind of like went down with his practice time?
He did. He had a setback in practice. Same issue, but something we have to work through.
In locker room, some guy told me that Tyler loves football. Have you learned anything more about him you didn't know, maybe about his work ethic, how much time he puts into it, weight study, film, stuff like that?
He puts in a lot of time. I know that. He wants to kind of come across like he doesn't, I think, but when you look at hours logged on our system, I mean, he's one of the top ones, and so he's passionate about the game. His recall on the field is really, really good. He can tell me why he did things, what he saw, and it's always accurate, and that's helped me as a coach.
Where have you seen the biggest jump from the offensive line?
I just think they have a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. And when Kyler does go into that mode of making a play like he did yesterday, of staying on your blocks and not holding, and the play's really not ever over with him. And I think everybody's just finding a comfort level with each other, and we're going to have some ups and downs as we still figure out this system, but they're a very cohesive group, and they're growing together.
You talked a few weeks ago about how you didn't want to, one of the things you're learning is there's no wasted plays because the games are a little tighter. Obviously a lot of what you're calling is working, but what has gone into the waste basket as far as like your playbook?
Just bad play calls. No, I mentioned before, I'm used to 80, 85 snaps, and now you're getting 65, maybe 70, and so you got to make sure when you look at that sheet, you're not just calling something to get it called or playing really fast because you're trying to, outmaneuver them with tempo. You got to make sure you have a point to every play, and that's helped me throughout this first month and a half get adjusted.
When you get your play ideas, when you're driving, when you're sleeping, when do they pop into your head?
Yeah, I mean at all hours, but it's a lot of film study. I try to take what I see on film from our opponent and then other offenses that I think fits and tweak it and do different things, but mainly when I'm watching film.
We've talked a lot about Chase's usage in general. I think he just had one touch in the second half yesterday. Did something change from the defense schematically, or why was he not as involved in that second?
Yeah, I don't really have an answer. I didn't realize that was the case, but we got to do a better job of getting him the football because he's been a very impactful player, and whether it's catching it or running it, and he's earned more touches.
Did you ever feel like you should temper offensive expectations in your own mind after the team struggled last year and you had the rookie quarterback, or did you feel like you would come in and try to hit the ground running?
Yeah, I've always just had that expectation of if we execute and I can call good plays, that we're going to be successful. And I think when I got here, people acted like I'd never called plays before, never coached football before, and so I have a feel for the game and what I think we can do, and we're just trying to get better at this point.
It's just known to have this call sheet and the other side, like a cocktail napkin. How many plays do you have on yours, and how big is it?
Yeah, more than his, but it's probably not as much as other people's. I'm big on just trying, if you're going to rep them, you're going to have them up that week, try to get them called. And so I don't have an exact number, but it's definitely not as much as some of these play sheets that I've seen.